Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Domination, where we are celebrating yet another Arsenal victory midweek. A 2-0 win against Manchester United. Probably more comfortable than the scoreline suggests, if we're honest. Pretty turgid first half, in fairness. I think Manchester United set up well, defended resolutely, and you have to give them credit for that. Arsenal probably not moving the ball quickly enough. Maybe a little bit surprised by how well Manchester United defended, which in some ways should be a surprise given their defensive record this season. But I think it's probably not as good in reality as maybe it's suggested. But to be fair, first half they did defend well, and Arsenal struggled. But really fair play to them in the second half. They came out, up the tempo, up the aggressiveness, and got the reward that they deserved. Both goals coming from set pieces. I'll touch on that in a minute. Ewan Timber with the first, a really nice moment for him, given the ACL he got last year. So really nice moment for him, and quite amusingly, actually, from my point of view, William Saliba getting the ball off his backside. And I was joking before the game that I'd take 1-0 with a goal of someone's backside. And hey, it was 2-0 with a goal of someone's backside, but a very good result there. Excuse me. As I can tell, I do these live in one take, so the cough's going to stay. But yeah, I mentioned the set pieces, and look, Arsenal delivery all night. Saka and Rice absolutely superb. United had no answer, including that very funny moment where Harry Maguire puts his arms out to block the runs, and all the Arsenal players just run past him like he's a turnstile. It's Harry Maguire, the meme that keeps giving, right? But you know, people are complaining about it. It shouldn't be allowed, and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's perfectly allowed. I remember criticising Arsenal fans when they were criticising Stoke under Tony Pulis, saying, it's anti-football and what have you. And yeah, in some ways it is, but it's allowed. And there are many ways to win a football game. You do not have to win it in one way. And Arsenal, those set pieces are going to be really important at times when our teams come in a low block and are defensively organised. You need multiple ways to break them down. And look, this is one of them. Um, and I give Arsenal full credit for that. And we'll just enjoy the fury that is emerging around the set pieces. It's quite sad, really, isn't it? But just thoughts on a couple of players in the game. Then, really, as I say, Arsenal got the win they deserve, but four players, I think, for me, deserve a real mention here. We all know the qualities of Rice and Saliba. They are majestic, and I thought in the absence of Gabriel Saliba, really, in particular, turned it up at the back. He looked aggressive. He looked like he wanted to take the ball forward. But Rice as well, he struggled this season, and he said so afterwards that he felt a bit tired and jaded after the long season last year in the Euros. But I thought second half he looked back to his best. The energy was there, the drive was there, and he's talked about the desire to win, and you could see that during the game. And we know what good players they are, so in some ways it shouldn't be a surprise. But two players that are less celebrated, in fact, I've often said get over criticised. People clamouring for Kivior never to play again after he made a mistake in one game earlier this season. And Zinchenko, of course, got a lot of stick last year. But I've spoken a lot about how players like those two, Sterling, Jesus, are going to need to play a part this season. Jorginho as well, if Arsenal are to win the league, or multiple trophies and compete on multiple fronts, because you need those squad players to be part of it. And Kivior and Zinchenko came in for Calafiori and Gabriel, who were both unavailable through injury. And before the game, I said I wouldn't worry about either of them individually, but as a pair coming in, I did worry a little bit. But we needn't have. Both played very well. I know Zinchenko got withdrawn late on and got booked late on. I think that was probably tiredness more than anything. But Kivior looked really composed, both from a defensive point of view, but his passing forward. And I thought both played really well. So I think a special mention to both of those two. And as I say, really well deserved win for Arsenal. And we go on to Fulham, where we have to keep up the momentum, we have to keep up the pressure on Liverpool, who dropped points against Newcastle midweek. And possibly could have dropped more had that penalty been given. I think it was a penalty for the Van Dijk incident, but VAR didn't intervene, and they come away with a point, which is probably a fair reflection of the game, to be fair. But gap down to 7 points. Maybe it will stay at 7 points. Liverpool will play first at the weekend. On paper you say, yeah, they beat Everton comfortably, but it's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. and Everton come on after a good morale-boosting victory. So we can but hope that Liverpool again drop points this weekend, and if they do, well, even if they don't, Arsenal have to take advantage with a tricky tie of their own. They go to Fulham. Fulham beating Brighton, of course, on Thursday evening. Going well in the league, looking strong, led by that former Arsenal contingent of theirs. And of course, they beat us last year, and I'm sure that part of Leno, ESR, and Iwobi, who, by the way, was excellent against Brighton, will want to really show Arsenal what they're made of, particularly Smith Rowe. You'd imagine the motivation will be there. One of the other former Arsenal boys, and he really still is because he's only on loan, Reece Nelson will not be eligible to play tomorrow because he cannot play against his parent club, and Tom Cairney will be suspended. But Fulham still pose a threat, particularly down that left side. And I think that is where Arsenal will need Jurrien Timber to be at his best tomorrow. I've spoken previously about the need to rotate Timber at some point while White is out. I think that's not in this game because of that threat down the left-hand side. I think we need to look at another game for him to get a rest. But I think that Arsenal will probably bring back in Gabriel and Calafiori if they're fit. I think that's probably sensible, given the threat Fulham pose. But if there's any questions, particularly if it's Gabriel, I think Kivior comes in and plays at left centre back because I think he looked excellent there. And if Gabriel needs another couple of days before Monaco, I think that Arsenal should do that. So side-wise, I think for Arsenal it's Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Havertz, and Trossard. I think Martinelli, he wasn't at his best, but I don't think he was quite as poor as people said on Wednesday. I think this is not a game for him. I think we need to unlock Fulham with a little bit of trickery, and I think that is a Trossard game. Maybe Mourinho plans in, but I expect him to be on the bench. So that's a side I expect to see. We'll see what happens. And hopefully we can get our revenge. Mikel Arteta not talking about the revenge stuff overly in his conference, nor did he, of course, mention the team. So all of my team I just mentioned is speculative on my part. But I think it probably will be a slight factor in that dressing room. We've seen him before use moments where Arsenal have been beaten to sort of pump the team up for the game, the next season or the next time they meet. And I'd expect no different on Sunday. But Arsenal shouldn't need motivating. There's a title to be won. There's a title they need to win. And that should be all the motivation they need as they go into this one. So I think that's probably the Fulham game. And what I would do for the Fulham game. Let me know what you would do for that game, or anything else you wanted to think about. But just before I go, I think just two quick notes really, which is rumours today that assistant Albert Stevenberg has been offered a new deal, as has Set Coast. I forget his name now, it's temporarily gone, but they have both apparently been offered new deals. I think this is good news for Arsenal. I think it probably suggests that Arsenal are looking to Arteta to be on the end of the season regardless of what happens. Whether that's right or wrong, I think that's probably where Arsenal's thought process is going. And there are arguments for and against, which I might do in another video nearer the end of the season rather than now, because right now we're focused on the title race, and Mikel Arteta I think is still doing a good job, but we'll see where we end up at the end of the season. But also rumours this morning and reports this morning that Bukayo Saka and Ranieri are both in discussions with Arsenal over a new deal. So even without a director of football, Arsenal looking to bring some stability to their current staff. I think that's a positive thing for Arsenal at this stage, and it allows the new guy when he comes in at the end of the season, whoever that will be, to sort of have something to build off. Or he's already got something to build off, but an even more solid platform to build off. Anyway, that's enough for me. Little bit of a tangent there at the end, but hopefully just brings you up to date on all things Arsenal. And yeah, hopefully we will see another 3 points on Sunday before the Champions League game against Monaco, and win both of those. I think, like I say, we're in a really strong position. Just got to keep winning these games, guys. Anyway, have a good day. Hopefully I will speak to you soon. And as always, like, subscribe. Leave a comment, it really helps me out, and I'm delighted with the start this channel's made. Have a good one, guys. Cheers, bye.